worry, anxiety, and depression. They kind of get chucked together in the same bucket, the same group of concerns and issues, because they can all affect our lives. So what is the difference between worry, anxiety, and depression? Well, they can be a sliding slope. So if we take at the beginning, worry. Now, worry is natural. We all have worry. Everybody has worry, okay? It's innate within inside us to naturally worry about many things, whether it's our safety, our health, our family, our friends, our future, all right? Worry is natural. Now, worry is generally a fear, all right? A fear that is slow but persistent, okay? And it sort of paralyzes us and stops us from being reasonable. And it can also really impinge upon our self-confidence of who we are. So it's a real thing that everybody has, sometimes more, sometimes less, at different times of their life. So if you've just, I don't know, faced a trauma, or you've lost your job, or you've separated from a loved one, then worry is very present, and obviously things have changed in your life and you don't know what's happening maybe, and a lot of emotions are bouncing around which perpetuate this fear, this anxiety, this worry, sorry. So like I said, worry is natural and normal, and you can help and plan to minimize your worry. So what worry is generally, like I said, a fear, is also a lack of making decisions, a lack of making decisions and planning. So if you're worried about your finance, for example, then you could put in place a budget plan and scope for the future, you know, with maybe some goals or whatever it is you want to look at for your future. All right, so planning, that will help you now if you sit down and write out a plan. All right, so that's budgeting. So having a plan and making decisions can really help get rid of some of those worries. Now, it's often said that this is probably why some people with a more, I don't know, logical brain would often feel that making a decision, whether it's wrong or right, is better than making no decision. Now, often I've found, now this is just a broad statement, I've found that women tend to want to be cautious and they mull over and they think a lot more about a decision. Now, that's a very good trait. You know, it's very good for survival. It's a very clever idea to be thoughtful and strategic with your decisions, and that's brilliant. There are other cases, though, when the decision is much more minor and doesn't really need to be thought about that hard. That's often why sometimes a female brain and a male brain will complement each other, or rather a logical brain and an emotional brain will actually complement one another. So the woman might be thinking about the children's schooling and future and education, but then when the woman says, oh, I don't know what to do for tea tonight, I've got so many things on my mind, if the man says, oh, let's have pizza. Oh, good, yeah. That's one less decision for somebody to make. And people with a logical brain, often males, I'm not saying everybody, but often it's the male or the male kind of brain, often make a very snap decision. We think about it and then we snap decide. Now, I have made mistakes. I have realized, often becoming quicker and quicker at realizing my mistakes and rectifying them. But making a mistake and making a decision is a lot better than not making a decision. When I was a young man, for example, story time now. So when I was a young man, I felt a little bit lost and a little bit not sure where to go, and friends were going in the army and friends were moving away and going to university, and I didn't know what to do. But I remembered I had a relative in Ireland, and I didn't really have much of a job at that time. I think actually I might have been claiming benefits as a young lad out of school and in between a couple of jobs. And so I basically just put some clothes in a bag and hitchhiked with my thumb over to Wales, and then got the ferry over to Ireland, and then down to Southern Ireland and seen some family. They happened to be, well, one of them, the older guy, John, happened to be helping out at a biker festival. And I think it was called Ballacogly. So I had a great time there. I think I stayed for the whole week and then slowly hitchhiked back. But there was times when I was very nervous and very worried. Being so a small guy and very young and naive, I didn't even have a tent. And I remember, I think I was like just outside of a school in the school holidays, sleeping in a sleeping bag outside of school in some unknown town. And I wasn't petrified, but I was a bit nervous, you know, and I stopped drinking at that point. I think I was like 19, 20. And I'd stopped drinking, so I wasn't like I was getting drunk and able to get rid of those feelings, you know. I wasn't able to be overwhelmed by some other stimulant. I was very, very nervous. But nothing happened. I had a great time. I got back safely and moved on with my life. And I did go back over that and use that as one of my first cookies. Now, cookies is a metaphoric cookie jar. You open the jar and you put in the good times and the great memories and the achievements and the brilliant things you've done. And then when you're feeling a bit low or a bit sad, you can metaphorically open that cookie jar. You can actually have a real jar if you prefer. Many people do, with a note on it and maybe a picture or drawing of the thing that you did, the achievement. And that reminds you that you're worthy. You're a human being worthy and have self-confidence, and that you're pure gold. All right, 24 karat gold. So having that cookie jar was very helpful for me, putting that in there. Like I said, so that's worry. And worry is very natural and happens to everybody. You may hear in the background my sister's dog having a drink of water. Apologies. All right, so worry is natural and normal. All right. Now, anxiety, on the other hand, is again something we all have occasionally. I think everybody has anxiety at some point. And it was also highlighted in one of the Marvel films with Tony Stark. You know, he had an anxiety, a panic attack. I think they called it a panic attack. And the young person there said to him, well, talked to him calmly, and then suggested to breathe and suggested a few other things. So even in modern society, it's in movies. And I think that's really good that we can all understand that we all suffer from worry and anxiety at some point in our lives, some more than others. So what is anxiety? So anxiety is a continuous, illogical, negative thoughts. That's what they are, the thoughts in your head. The thoughts of something bad is going to happen. And often it's illogical. I know it's easy to say, and I've been there myself when I've been upset and sort of paralyzed with anxiety. So it is a very real thing for everybody. You know, it's very, very rare you'd find somebody who said they've never had any anxiety. Okay, so there's signals from your brain about these thoughts. So these thoughts manifest in the brain, which then happen into the body. So you think, oh my God, I'm going to die. Oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. You're having these thoughts, these really strong thoughts. And it's making your heart rate boom, 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 go up. And your blood pressure go up. And you feel flush and maybe faint. And all these things are happening for real. Adrenaline is coming into your body. These things are actually happening because your body really believes it's happening. Your brain really believes something is of immortal danger or threat to you. So your body really, really connects with what your thoughts are saying via your brain. All right? Some other things to think about is like your fingernails and digestion and other things that your body does that are not super important in that moment tend to go on hold. So that's often why you might have knots in your stomach or stomach cramps, because you're digesting and said, whoa, that's not important right now, because of the fight or flight. So those things happen. Often you'll feel sick, maybe a dry mouth, nauseous, and some of these are just after effects after the adrenaline, especially after maybe a car accident or some other trauma. You can go through these same feelings and thoughts. So to combat this, now I say combat it because it's not a quick fix. It's not an easy thing for everybody to just go, oh yeah, I'm having a panic attack. I know what I gotta do. I gotta do this, and it goes away. It's not quite as simple and as easy as that. I know. It's hopefully if there's somebody around you, if not you're on your own, you have to disconnect from those illogical thoughts and move into reality. Often people will say that breathing, and I know it's cliche, oh, breathing, I know, that's easy, we all breathe. But it's not the breathing. What it is it's talking to yourself. Right, I must breathe in slow through my nose and breathe out from my mouth. Okay, now I'm touching my fingertips. I can feel that. So you're talking to yourself. So you're getting out of your crazy thoughts in your head, and you're coming back down to the logical side of reality. That breathing takes a moment. Normally stops your brain from thinking. All right. So if you listen to any Eckhart Tolle or any of those other meditation kind of stuff, just stopping your brain going chat, 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 all that rubbish sometimes. Just taking a few breaths. Now, it works for me. Taking a few breaths will stop my brain chattering. It's almost like it's blacked out for a minute while I'm telling myself to breathe. Now, you can perpetuate that feeling of shutting that brain up, that illogical side of your brain up, more by saying, right, I can feel my fingers. I can feel each one of my fingers. And then you become part of sensory. You can touch the ground, you can touch your clothes, or your beard, whatever. You get connected to your sensory. Maybe smell things, Maybe you can listen for a bird. Maybe you can listen for, I don't know, people in the background talking. So you get connected to your senses, all right? So you got your touch, maybe later taste, smells, sounds, and a few more. There's 5 of them in there, or 6, depending on who you listen to. So getting reconnected and calming yourself down and saying, no, okay. And then after that, to distract your brain, distract your body. Okay, so right, I've touched my fingers, I've touched my hands, right. Oh, I need to go and wash my face. Go and wash my face. Look in the mirror. I'm still alive. I'm still beautiful. You are beautiful. Okay, so you've washed your face. You've told yourself you're beautiful. Now, what can you do? Do something of service for yourself. Now, if you believe in Maslow's triangle, number 1 at the top there, or at the bottom, depending on which way round you like the triangle, is looking after yourself. Maybe you want to get a shower. Maybe you just want to brush your teeth. Maybe you want to go and do your laundry. Maybe you want to clean your room. Something of service for yourself that will help you feel better and feel a bit more alive and connected. After that, and you don't have, let's just pretend for a moment, you don't have any other worries, say you're okay financially or you're on a day off, it would be good then to help somebody else. Maybe go and help your neighbor. All right. Now the reason I say that is because it's the next thing on my list is dopamine. Dopamine from exercise. So if you're cleaning your room, you're running around, you're moving and getting the Hoover and things like that. So the dopamine can really help cheer you up. All right. That's a good positive thing. And then the other one is oxytocin. All right. They call it a a cortisol suppressor. It suppresses the cortisol within your body. And the oxytocin comes from, it's called the love hormone. So it comes from acts of generosity, like helping your neighbor, maybe petting your dog, maybe having a hug from a loved one, even just seeing some friends and shaking hands and connecting with people and smiling and feeling connected to a community of people. All right, so those things, and like I said, generosity is always a good thing. Those things can really help move you forward and get you out of the anxiety. And if you do this on a regular basis, the anxiety will become less and less. So yes, I know you've heard it before, but exercise, even if it's just tidying your room or helping your neighbor, being generous with your time and helping other people, all right? And try and be a little bit mindful of your brain and where you're feeling. So for example, if you're really tired because you've worked late or you stayed up late with the children, knowing you have to care for yourself and get those hours of sleep can really help benefit and help minimize the levels of anxiety that you perceive. Now, many people also believe that it's good to go down the route of medication. Now, that's a personal decision for each person. I know there are a few other herbal remedies, but I would say try and stay away from artificial stimulants, because that can perpetuate it and make it worse, such as coffee, Coca-Cola, and things like that. So that's what I would recommend. And again, whether you're a high active person or a low calm person, I would recommend doing something that fits your lifestyle, that helps keep you grounded, and giving a little bit and caring for yourself, self-love. That's very important. All right, moving on. Depression. Now, I've been fortunate. I've had the experience of working in a prison, mostly on nights, for a few years. And I've also worked in a hospital for patients that have been sectioned for their own safety or the safety of others. And I've seen the far end of it, which is quite scary, and I've seen the low end of it, which is very slow and gradual. So I've seen both sides of that part of depression, and I know a few people that have chosen to commit suicide. So the severity of depression is not lost on me. I fully understand it. So you can imagine in the prisons there were a few suicides, and also in my own life I've known somebody to commit suicide. So that's pretty deep, that's pretty sad. But depression, what is it? What is depression? Defined as being down for 2 or more consecutive weeks, and nothing will make it go away. Nothing will make you happy. Maybe you might be able to convince yourself for a moment that eating a cake or a burger or some temporal fix may help, but generally these people that have depression are pretty serious. It's not the sort of thing that just goes away at a drop of a hat. That being said, some people can play a very good game at pretending to be happy, pretending to be okay. And again, this was highlighted in again, modern mainstream media with UFC fighting. Paddy Pimblett, at the end of one of his fights, grabbed a microphone and spoke about men reaching out for help and to talk to somebody, because he recently lost somebody very close to him. And that's a UFC fighter on national TV and in the mainstream. So depression, again, is with everybody, is near, and somebody has been touched by it at some point. It's really, really heavy. It's really, really difficult to get out of it alone. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. Now, like I said before, or you may have got an inkling, I'm not a person that believes in medication if you can avoid it. So, only if it's really necessary. But in the case of depression, counseling and medication are sometimes the only way out of depression. Now, this is where I think modern medicine really does shine. It can really help people make the stepping stone to becoming a healthier mental health, healthier individuals. So the only thing that I can suggest is that if somebody has depression, is to respectfully and politely ask them to seek medical attention, whether it's go to the hospital and tell them that they're feeling very, very bad, in a very bad place, and describe what's happening. Or they contact their doctor and they go to the doctors. If you are, how do I put this? It sounds awful. If you are convincing enough to the right medical people, you can get help. But you have to be, this is wrong, you have to be very assertive with your intentions and your feelings of how you are, which is kind of a contradiction, because often people that are depressed are reclused and shine away from people, because often people that they feel they have to put on a brave face, because people don't know how to deal with somebody that's got depression or somebody that's feeling very, very low in their life. So it's a very, very difficult situation. Like I said, respectfully ask they seek medical professional help, and also counselling. So a lot of people can't afford counselling. If you go to the doctor, often you'll only get CBT, and that might be for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, something like that. CBT is cognitive behavioural therapy. Now that's great for a lot of ailments and a lot of mental health issues, but if you're very depressed or you're depressed, it's not really deep enough to have the time and the scope to unpack the traumas and the issues that you're facing. So CBT I wouldn't recommend for people suffering with depression. Now, some people are able to counsel themselves. There's a great book called Counseling for Toads. Counseling for Toads. Now, I don't have it on me, but you can Google it and find out who it's by. It's sort of based on the premise of the TV show Wind in the Willows. All right, and that's about like a toad that lived in a hall, and a badger, and some countryside animals. Anyway, Counseling for Toad. That's a great book. There are many other great books, if you're not depressed, that can also give you an insight into counseling if you're interested. And I would suggest anything by Dr. Irvine Yalom. He has a plethora of books. Very, very interesting subject. He is a very, very well-known and respected psychotherapist or whatever in America. And some of his books and some of the way he talks to you is just amazing. And the fact he's so open and honest is refreshing. You wouldn't think he's a counselor, the way he's so refreshingly open and honest. Anyway, Dr. Irvine Yalom, amazing person. Okay, so this is the smallest section, depression, because I really recommend anybody that is depressed to seek professional medical help. It's a very difficult and sensitive thing. Many people have got some very, very strong opinions and ideas and feelings about their own lives. And it's very, very sensitive that how to get somebody to see the light and see the positive sides and see the value and worth of themselves and their life and their loved ones. It's very, very difficult. Okay, so I can't recommend anything enough other than seek medical advice. Now, I understand not everybody wants to take tablets, hence why I suggested a couple of books. Now, I've been depressed for smaller times, and so I can't say exactly how to get out of it myself. But for me, it was time. It was just taking time. It's a very dark place, very difficult. But there is hope, all right? There are people that love you. You do have self-worth. You are a valuable person to the planet, to your community. And if you don't feel like it right now, you can make it that way. You can make yourself a valuable person to the community by just being out there and doing things, serving and just being present, all right? So I suppose the government would always appreciate your taxes as well. Okay, but if anybody's having any issues, anybody's wanting some more direction, then please reach out. But like I said, I'm not professional, but please reach out if you're having any difficulties. All right, that's it for today. All right, we covered worry, anxiety, and depression. 3 very big topics, 3 very real issues that we all face in this modern world. It's a crazy world right now, isn't it? Okay, look after your mental health, look after yourself. I love you all. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.